Yeah, so um I've been thinking about how like different thoughts create different chemical reactions in your brain. Like because your brain can't tell the difference between uh, an imagined experience and a physical experience. I'm sure it can. Like I'm sure your body naturally reacts um, to a more vivid, creative, imaginatory experience than a um, like just a passing thought. But anyways, so I've been thinking about dopamine. Like last night, I had trouble sleeping, and I just like was scrolling for a long time, and then I woke up super early, couldn't sleep well, and I realized that um, I was gonna have to get through the day. Basically, I realized that I was gonna have to get through the day, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna do to do this? And I was like, okay, I can think, the thoughts that I usually think, like the thoughts I think are, I already have it. Like that was a thought that I was having. Like I already have it. I already have everything I want. Um, Ease, flow, peace. Uh, I also think about I have more than enough. That's an abundance thought. I have more than enough. But while I was driving, I was like, okay, none of this is really like setting in. Although it seems kind of um, like it's heightening emotion, it's also like not relaxing me. And I settled on a feeling of like while I was driving to work, I was like, okay, let me give myself something, because I've been cherishing myself the way a partner would cherish me, or, people like just connection. Like if you want anything, you must give it to yourself first. And so I realized that when you are in a relationship or a friendship, any kind of relationship, um, you cherish yourself. You cherish the people around you. You cherish the moment. There's a lot of um, cherishing going on. So I was thinking, okay, what kinds of things do I want right now? And I was like, okay, well, I want money. I want work. I'm going to work. I want to be a well flowing work environment. And I was like, okay, work, money, and work, those things want security. You know, they want, yeah, they want security. And so I was like, okay, I give myself security. I give myself security. And actually saying that really relaxed me. Um, yeah, it really relaxed me. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to feel that, then if I'm going to relax now, and it actually honestly relaxes me right now as I'm speaking to you guys right now, to you right now, you computer Connor. uh, yeah, it relaxed me, and I was like, okay, what are the main three things that most people want? Most people want um, money, which money wants security. These are things that were kind of popping in my head. Money wants security. Um, relationships want like enjoyment. They want connection. So I kind of vacillate between those two, just thinking, okay, well, relationships want enjoyment and connection. And I kind of was like, okay, I I'm not gonna be thinking about that right now. I'm way too tired to be like enjoying anything right now. I'm not like I don't have the base. The base is like health and well being, you know? And so I was like, okay, so it's the main things people want are money, health, and uh, a relationship, good relationships. And so the last thing, health, was like, okay, peace. I feel like the 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 main thing that health wants is peace. And I feel like that's kind of true still, meaning I think it wants equilibrium. I think it wants uh, it. I think I think physical and mental health is uh, is balance really. I mean, it's a balance of like sleeping the right amount. It's a balance of getting enough spontaneous fun out there. It's a balance of like going to the gym. It's a balance of resting. So yeah, I feel like it's a balance, and um, so I was kind of like in between peace and security, and security felt warm. It felt more like a feeling similar to gratitude, or it just felt like serotonin inducing. I feel like it felt safe, whereas I felt peace felt more like I give myself peace. I felt like that was like more a limbic feeling, and I feel like uh, more like rather than um, it didn't feel like dopamine, and it didn't feel like testosterone, and it didn't feel like um, oxytocin, or it didn't feel like uh, serotonin. It literally just felt like, okay, I have this like pull in the back of my head that goes down my spine, and it's just kind of like relaxing a little bit. It's like the same kind of thing. It's like, oh, no big deal. You know, I think no big deal has a little bit more uh, finito, which like I know this is gonna sound weird, but like the feeling of finishing and the feeling of attaining, the feeling of satisfaction, satisfying a desire is um, it's serotonin, but it also releases uh, epinephrine. No, adrenaline. No, it releases what's that one um, that that's the runner's high. The runner's high. Endorphin. Endorphins. Yeah, endorphins. Which yeah, it releases endorphins. I feel like it's not a big deal as like endorphins inducing. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Like it's art. Like something is capped. It's yeah. Whereas peace feels like never ending. You know, finding peace feels like a consistent thing. And so, um, yeah, like what was I saying? Um, yeah, so I got to work and I was like so tired, and like I brought all my stuff into work, and I was like, okay, let me set up all this stuff. And I was like, okay, let me give myself security. And I was like, okay, this is working. And I was like, let me give myself peace. I was like, okay, this is working. And then I was like, okay, let's try. Let me give myself connection. And then I felt super connected to not just the room, but also like the machinery. I felt the machinery, and I was like, oh man, I feel connected to what I'm doing. Like I felt an inner connection, you know. And I was like, okay, let me keep this going. And it worked for a little bit, but then I just got into this mode where um, I was working, and I was like, okay, this is difficult, you know what I mean? Like, and I just wasn't really stoked, and I was like, oh man, I wish I was stoked on my job or whatever. Like, I wish I had a job that I was stoked on. And then, I was just like, okay, my job is like very events based, and this is like an influencer event, and so a lot of kind of it was like makeup influencer event, and I was just staff, and I felt very out of place. I felt very like you know I felt like I was consistently being like, oh, it's no big deal, like it's no big deal, no big deal, and it just it's no big deal, you know. Like, what other thoughts was I thinking? Like, I already have it. I've already won. You know. Um, and I think it was just like the mix between like feeling like feeling like I wanted to interact positively with the customers and with the people, but I just didn't really have the energy, you know. And um, and every little thing kind of got me a little like irritated and down on myself. It felt like a hierarchical thing. Like I was living in a hierarchical thing. Like just this, one of the only dudes working in a really wealthy neighborhood, wealthy area, wealthy business kind of thing. And I just felt like so separated from people, and um, and then I started more thinking like, okay, I have more than enough. I have more than enough. And I realized, oh, okay, if I think that I have more than enough, then like I can feel like a kind of I can have. Once I started thinking that thought, I started having like a little bit more understanding of the event, and like it wasn't just like super wealthy people around me. It was like, oh, I can like actually talk to some of my current coworkers at this event. You know, I can like mingle with people and realize that actually a lot of these people that are at the event are not even super influencers or super loaded. I think some of them just were walking by or whatever. Like I just got out of my head about feeling alienated, you know? And then I was like, oh, I was literally doing this to myself. Like, this isn't something I have to keep going with. And then once I acknowledged that I do have enough, like I literally do have enough. I have more than enough. I always have more than enough. Like that's how my life works. That's how my life has always worked, and that's how I feel like a lot of people's kind of lives are. But I don't really want to speak for other people. I just know that the more that I acknowledge that, the more I can realize that and move from a base of like, oh, I have more than enough. I can like branch out a little bit. And I started making more friends at the event, making more positive interactions, you know. Um, I started getting more like stoked and happy, but I also was like, I yeah, I was having a really good time, and then um, like just kind of like mingling, and then but I also felt myself like being like, oh, I am, um, I'm like dopamine depleted, one, so and two, like I'm using these people like the outside world as like um, as like a little shot of fun. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, if they're not gonna give that to me, I'm gonna be a little like on edge about it, because I just am depleted. And I realized like, oh, that's not what I want. I don't want to be like depleted. I don't want to be like frustrated. I want to be. Um, it was getting like closer to the end of the event, and it was a long event for me because I don't, I work events. Events are, they're not the most, they're not the longest type of thing, and it, they just vary, and so, but I was like, oh, I want to, um, I want like I need something to help me like stay level, and I was like, okay, like how can I how can I chill out? And I realized like, okay, I was using the outside world as like a kind of marker to determine my own value. Like I think we all unconsciously or subconsciously do this or whatever, a little bit or a lot probably. And but I was kind of like, I was like, I was like trying to do this, and I was like, okay, I want, I see like a certain amount of value things happening. I think I want testosterone. I think I want something to kind of like blunt the awkwardness, blunt the anxiety, blunt the pressure, And I realized, oh, like the thing that testosterone does is that um, it makes it makes effort really fun. It makes it manageable. It makes it like, oh, I can just like actually do this. You know, you can like zone in and be like, okay, like it's like almost like a I don't know, like a massage for your limbic system, or like a, maybe like a like a balmy kind of opioid for your limbic system, or like it's a natural painkiller. Really, it's a natural painkiller. Testosterone is a natural painkiller, and so I was like, okay, I've already won. That's how I was thinking about it. I was like, testosterone is a competition chemical, pretty much. Like, it is heightened by competition. It's heightened by like hierarchical dominance. It's heightened by um, winning. And I realized, okay, you know, I can use that to my advantage, even though I don't feel I feel like the hierarchy is now um, like in your head or whatever. Like I can use that to my advantage and say, no, I've already won. I have already won. It was the same kind of thing that Michael Jordan was doing, where he was like, oh, I've already won this game, and this is, I got this from Neo Knowledge. Like I didn't come up with this Michael Jordan thing, but like he was like, I always see myself as a winner, and I was like, oh, okay. If you always see yourself as a winner and continuously see that, then your body's going to produce more testosterone because it's seeing you as a winner, and thus, um, you know, worthy of the testosterone. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to pump you with testosterone. Maybe not like super hard, maybe not like TRT levels. Um, but for what was needing to do, it would work. And I really like, I stopped. I was there and I was like, oh, I need to like lock in, you know? I was like, oh, I need to lock in. Like it literally kind of turned around like I'm doing it now. I'm like, I already won. I need to lock in. And I was like, okay, like, how's it going? We've got you right here. Let's do the thing. Da 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 da. Like, here you go. Let me help you with that. Da 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 da. Um, like, people were kind of like, no, I felt like people noticed things were different with me, especially because I felt like they were women. But I also don't think that they were necessarily reacting super negatively or super like positively. I think they were just noticing, oh wow, there's like a difference in this guy right now, and you probably notice it too. Now that I'm like starting to think it, um, like, oh, like this guy has something different about him, and there's a lot of energy happening over here, and I kind of realized, okay, well, um, like testosterone and dopamine are in like a feedback loop. So if you have a bit of testosterone, you can like get things done a little bit faster because it doesn't really feel painful to do hard things to eventually get that dopamine spike, of anticipation to getting closer to what you want to be done with. You know what I mean? Or I think that's how it works. But yeah, I kind of noticed it and I was like, oh wow. And then I was thinking, um, yeah, I got everything done and I was like kind of in a weird pissed off, but like really productive and also really anytime someone came up to me and was like trying to be nice to me or talk to me, I was really attentive with them and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, 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 and I think they appreciated it. It felt like they appreciated it. I also felt like I was appreciating them. I was able to like switch from locking in to softness like pretty quickly. And then when I came home, I was super funny with my family. Yeah, I was just joking with them super hard. And I felt very like out of body experience a little bit, but also at the same time like able to respond. Almost like I'm not over this, but more like not just the body. Or maybe like the body is like dampened a little bit and I can like find answers a little quicker. Um, and yeah, I was driving on the way home and I was thinking about like, oh, like, testosterone. I was thinking about Andrew Huberman saying that testosterone like heightens competition, or it yeah, it heightens in competition, and the reason why it does that is because it's a really frightening thing to fight. Um, he was saying how like in um, a lot of battles or primate battles or whatever, like what happens is that um, they fight to mate pretty much, and so like if you lose your manhood, you know. And uh, I think that that is the stem of a lot of the problems that men have talking to women. um, because uh, it's not so much a fear of like the woman, it's more of like the fear of like being rejected, you know, and being like, and then what happens? Then your manhood could be ripped or whatever, I don't know. But, and I realize, you know, I kind of have been realizing that like women are so much nicer than um, they're so much nicer and more open to conversation, and they're not the ones like that are that our brains are afraid of. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like our bodies are kind of responding to some weird uh, fear, but also at the same time, it's I don't think that women have the same um, reaction, like survival instinct thing in them. They have a different one, but I don't really know. Basically, what I was saying was that I feel like men overthink, overthink the situation with that, and it's based off like a something that was in our primordial past. Um, but maybe it's not a big deal.